All right, so for our gauge install, we have our O2 sensor there. And now, this is sitting in the car, we can put our AFR sensor here. Now, I'm no welder, but I got it on there pretty good. I used a step bit, got it drilled out, and then stuck it down in there. And like, it started to burn through the pipe here a little bit, as this thing's old and used, and it's pretty cheap thin steel. Not only that, it's stainless, and I'm welding with a MIG for steel. So, it worked. We're going to get this installed right now. Alright, so I got some of this stuff here taken care of. Got the pipe, the sensor mounted in the pipe. I now have my upper dash cover here is now removed. We do have some extra wiring here that we got to eliminate. I just started getting into that so that we can get everything hooked up here correctly. I'm looking here, we got a whole bunch of wiring kind of just like packed up in here. So I'm not sure what this was for. Maybe an alarm or something, but I'm gonna get all this stuff here cut out and eliminated out of the way because it does nothing. All right, what a mess. Look at this. It's around the clutch cable wire there. Okay, I think we can pull. There's two pulled in, but this is pretty much how this works. I've done a bunch of aftermarket alarms. Looks like we have one up here. I'm gonna eliminate this. We got maybe it had gauges. So we've got, wow, what an extra amount of wires. So I'm gonna get all this stuff out of here so that we can get the new gauges installed. Just a little bit of wiring. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but the rolling screws were in that. They had it connected up in underneath the steering column. So everything's out of the way. It looked like there was something chewing in here at one time. I did vacuum out some of the remnants that was in here. There's a little bit more. These poor cars sure do have a hard life. So with that being said, we're going to start working on getting our gauge wiring run. We have this one here. The boost gauge pretty much is self-contained underneath the dash, and then this will power that up. This is pretty much the only one that we have to run through the firewall. It's the one that runs down to the sensor that we already have installed down there. Typically what I do is I'll take a factory antenna and I'll tape the wire to it and I'll shove it down through there. I have lots of videos on installing the gauge wiring, but that's what we're going to do now. And then we'll get everything run, get everything tucked back up out of the way. I'm going to take a screwdriver. There's two screws down in here that hold these on. These are very delicate. They break easy, so we're just going to be careful to remove it. It could be something someone else might want to use. And then we'll reinstall it with the two screws just like that. Plug our wiring in and get everything run. Alright, got my sensor plugged in. And my wire is tucked up real nicely, run across here. Can't even really tell. I got all the harnesses plugged into our gauges. They're now mounted, and isn't that beautiful? Alright, so we do have to still hook these two in for power and ground. We have our wire here from our sensor already run up to the top. Got everything else here kind of cleaned up. We do have the little harness that goes into here. I just gotta figure out where I set it. I know it's here. So it's up on the other side, so I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna get this dash cover set in. It's gonna be pretty easy. I know I'm sticking my hand through here, but we're gonna hook our vacuum sensor into this. I'll probably pull this tape back and then I can tuck it down over here. I'm gonna tuck my extra wire in. Then I'm gonna run my two power wires. They'll come down behind. I run this wiring anytime I do anything. I run up in behind where this bracket is, because if for some reason somebody has to take the dash out, all they have to do is unplug these. They're not trying to unfeed wires back around to get stuff out, okay? You know, you could even take this wire here, wrap it up around your mirror, you know, once you unhook it from your gauge, and you're not going to have any issues. You know, you're going to be able to unhook the plugs there, and then everything else is going to, I mean, technically everything will just stay with the dash when you pull it out, so it'll work out good. And that's usually how I try to do stuff. I kind of think of it in case I have to get in here. Do it right. Don't make extra work for yourself. And I've rerun, like I said, in the Blue Nightmare, I did the same thing. I'm going to get this dash set in. I'm going to show you a little bit of getting stuff hooked up. I usually stick something underneath. That way I can get the stuff fed up in. Now this is going to be a little tricky, because I'll have to feed this up through underneath, and then I'll have to reach up into the pod and get this plugged in. As you can see, you do have a good bit of room to be able to reach up into here, because I'm going to feed the wire here, and then I got to get it snapped in. So sometimes if I have problems, I'll actually have these loose, and then I'll put the gauge in if I have to pull it out, which that could happen, maybe. I'm going to get this thing installed. All right, so I was able to get everything tucked down in here nicely. All I did was hook up the vacuum line like I was stating. So we have our boost and our air fuel ratio gauges here installed. When you open up this pack, this is this little attachment here. I believe it's Glow Shift mini expandable circuit. This comes from, this is ordered with the gauges from Modern Performance. Okay, so it'll show you where your 4-amp fuse is supposed to go in the top, and your stock fuse that you're pulling out goes there. Now, I know, for example, that this one here is going to work. So I have my fuses installed the way that it says. So all I have to do is just come over here and go, ta-da, and it's installed. Now, I taped off the blue and the whites to make sure that nothing shorts out there. I just do it. I don't know if you have to, but I like to. All right, so then we ground here at our normal point for ground. I'm going to hook up the battery quick. We'll light these gauges up and see what they look like. All right, so we're hooked up here. Cycle our key on. There we go. So it's heating up our sensor. And it'll change once it gets warm. It'll go down a little bit. But we're hooked up. We're ready to go. There it goes. It's all warmed up. Now it's ready to read. So, gauge install is actually pretty easy if you've done it a million times. But there we go. I mean, I got to put a couple screws in here. I'm going to clean up some of these covers. I've been cleaning. This car was pretty dirty, so I've been working on cleaning it up. As you can tell, the floor is a little clean, but that's because I got the vacuum out again. And I'm going to clean some more of this stuff up in here. I do have to get to doing the rest of the turbo install, and we do have a video doing the first start. There's a couple more things that need to be done, but I'm going to finish up getting everything in for the turbo.